What's going on, NBA fans? This is your coach, Jacob Schmidt of the Columbus Swablu Jackets. I am here. I'm excited. I get to bring you the post-game commentary of my Week 2 match against the Cincinnati Raikou and their coach, Aaron Nikolai. I was bummed. I was live recording this one, and in the middle of it, of going back and forth between the damage calculator and the match, I accidentally closed the recording, so I accidentally stopped it halfway through, and then was just too flustered to really pull it back up to begin recording again. So I'm just going to do post commentary again this week. So I apologize. Week three. I hope to get it right, and hopefully give you guys a live game commentary so you can see what I'm thinking while I'm actually battling. But here we go. Playing Aaron's team this week. He made two really good pickups this week. He picked up Sableye and Mamoswine. Previously, he didn't have a ground type, so I thought, oh, Reggie Alecki is going in this week. But he picked it up, which was a great pickup for him. I didn't really have much to deal with Mamoswine, so I brought Orbeetle to kind of deal with that. I didn't do a ton of prep this week because I just kind of want to, play offensively and get to have fun around Dracovish. So that's kind of what I'm going for this week. That was the game plan for my team, was to get Dracovish in and just let him do his thing. As you can see, he did bring Wailord, who resists Vicious Wren, though. But outside of that, I got to watch out for the Prankster Will-O-Wisp from Sableye. I think Umbreon, if he's defensive, he probably would live a hit. I haven't done any calcs at all this week. I was just kind of having fun with it. So I'm excited for it. I think this will be a good match. And I know it's a good match. I'm excited to commentate it. I don't want to give anything away. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into this match. As we get started, I expect a Mamoswine lead or Sableye lead. But I'm kind of banking more on a Mamoswine lead, so I want to lead my Orbeetle. I brought Body Press Orbeetle to deal with that Mamoswine, and so that's what I'm going to lead. And he actually leads his Sableye, which things could be worse. I see that he's Lagging Tail Sableye, which last week we actually saw he tricked a Lagging Tail last week, so I anticipate he's probably going to try that again and try to get it on my Dracovish, but that's fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch in. I brought Mawile to deal with this Sableye. He can't Toxic me. I'll still hit him pretty hard with a Play Rough, even if he does burn me. So I'm not too worried about it. So I just bring in Mawile straight up, and he actually here switches out into Corviknight. And again, I'm thinking, well, shoot, my answer to the Corviknight is Reggie Alecki. We will see what he does, but I am just going to switch into Gigalith because I don't really have a huge answer to Corviknight right now. And I want Sand Up. Say I get Sand Up, and then I can switch into Dracovish on something and hopefully just go in. So I really am just switching solely to get Sand Up here. But he actually switches out. He switches into Wailord, which isn't great for me. And so this here is when I actually calced something. And so I went and I was like, okay, maybe I should calc. So I took my team, I exported it into the damage calculator. And I was like, okay, can a full specially defensive Gigalith, because that's what I brought this week for Dwayne, specially defensive again, can I live a Choice Specs Water Spout from Wailord? And yeah, there was a chance. He would do 85 to 100% chance, Choice Specs max HP Wailord on my max special defense Gigalith. But he goes for the Bulldoze. I think he was anticipating a Reggie Alecki switch here, but also Bulldoze was a pretty safe play in general. And as you can see, we take that pretty well. And then I missed the Stone Edge. That was really sad. I don't think it would have done a ton of damage, but that's why I stayed in, because I knew there was a good chance I lived a Water Spout. But now with the lost HP, I'm probably not going to live it. I was thinking, maybe he's Specs and maybe he's stuck into Bulldoze, so I think I'm just going to stay in. And we can see he takes a little more chip there, but he's not. He does have Water Spout, and he hits hard. So Wailord actually with his 6th kill of the season, and so here I am. I'm bringing in Dracovish. I clicked this so quick because the sand was up, and I regret it still. I cannot believe I clicked this. Why did I not go Reggie Alecki? I don't know. But I wanted to use the sand, and I was just excited to use it. So I brought in Dracovish, and then I realized, oh shoot, I don't take this thing out unless I go for an Outrage. And that being said, I'm going to go for an Outrage, and then he probably brings in Corviknight. I think I'll still get to use Dracovish. So I just do hit Outrage. I know I outspeed. and I just hit Outrage to take out the Wailord. So, so I do. I take out Wailord, and I get to bring in Prison Mike. As I said, I didn't stress this enough when I brought him in. This is my favorite nickname of the season, Prison Mike. I just think that's such a funny nickname for Dracovish. Looking like he's wearing a bandana, slicked back head. I just think it's funny. So we've got our Dracovish. We bring him in. He actually brings in Mamoswine, which I know for me this is not a good sign because he probably brought Freeze Dry, but I'm stuck into Outrage. So hopefully maybe he just brought a pretty frail Mamoswine and can't live in Outrage. But he does. So we hit him for 78. And he goes for the Freeze Dry, and he one-shots us, as I kind of expected there. But, I mean, that's fine. I bring in Orbeetle, and, you know, we have a counter at least to this a little bit. And I kind of expected that when I decided to click Outrage, although I thought he'd bring in Corviknight. He did a great job and brought Freeze Dry on Mamoswine, which, good for him. So at this point, I'm really worried. I'm thinking, shoot, I think I kind of lost this match. So now I'm just kind of playing, trying to preserve differential. I bring in Orbeetle here. He's already seen Body Press, so... Oh, no, he hasn't seen Body Press at this point. But I go for the U-turn. I anticipate he's just going to switch and try to save this Mamoswine because I think he probably wants the electric immunity. So I go for a U-turn. I do see his Choice Scarf there, which was huge because now I know what he is, but... he does bring in Corviknight, who is Rocky Helmet, so he was probably max defense Rocky Helmet. And he eats that Body Press up, so I go for a U-turn. Now I bring in Regieleki, and then he goes for a Bulk Up here, and now I'm thinking, okay, I think he's going to actually switch into Mamoswine here. I think he knows that he should keep this Corviknight. If he keeps Corviknight here, I'm in a tough spot. Really, if he gets rid of Regieleki, I don't have much offensive threat anymore. So I think he's going to keep Corviknight, especially for Dugtrio Alola. So I actually go for, and you can see I go for Ancient Power, because I wanted to be able to hit Mamoswine, but he stays in. He goes for a Brave Bird, gets pretty good damage off. So now I'm thinking, well, shoot, I'm Choice Specs into this Ancient Power, which maybe I shouldn't have brought Choice Specs this week. I just thought it would be fun to deal some more damage. But hey, that's the price you pay. So I got to switch out. So I switch out and I go into, I believe, who do I go into here? Oh, I go into Mawile. And again, I was thinking I can get rid of that attack boost. It doesn't really matter at this point. And I just go Mawile. And then I switch immediately back into Regieleki because I thought he might go for another Bulk Up or whatever. He wouldn't knock me out with a Brave Bird anymore because of that attack drop. So I wasn't too worried about it, and I switched into Regieleki. But he brings in Umbreon, so now I get a free Volt Switch off. I get to gauge some damage here. And doesn't do a ton, 37. I mean, he eats that up. But it lets me bring in Mawile. No, I bring in Orbeetle. Why did I bring in Orbeetle on this Umbreon? I don't know, but I did. So, and I think I just want to get some momentum. Do I go for U-turn here or Bug Buzz? No, I go for Bug Buzz, yeah. So I just try to put some more damage on him. He stays in. And now I think I go for U-turn. Yeah, that is what I do. I go for U-turn here because I want to keep up pressure. And I bring in Regieleki. And again, I'm thinking, I don't know why he doesn't switch in Mamoswine here. So I really wanted to go for Ancient Power here. Everything in my bones was telling me I should go for Ancient Power to knock out Mamoswine on the switch. But I don't. I don't do that. And he stays in. So I actually get a free Volt Switch to knock out Corviknight, which allows me to bring back in Orbeetle. He brings in Mamoswine. I know he's Scarfed, but so I don't think I'm going to live anything here. I don't want anything else to take this hit. So I end up sacking Orbeetle, which is fine. And now I'm thinking, I got to take this thing out. My Dugtrio and my Regieleki outspeed this thing. But ultimately, what is he going to bring in on it? And I knew if I go for Dugtrio here, I think he's probably going to bring in Sableye or Umbreon after I knock out Mamoswine, if he lets me knock him out. And if he doesn't, then I get really good damage. So that's why I brought in my Flosidon, Dugtrio Alola. So Flosidon, he is Scarfed, and he does decide to stay in with the Mamoswine. So I end up bringing this thing back as 3-3. And now I'm looking at his team, and Mawile kind of goes in. I can't be Toxic. I'm super effective with a Play Rough on all of them. I've got Sucker Punch for Latios. I've got a free Play Rough. So like I'm really liking Mawile here. So I think I get a free switch here to Mawile. He can't really touch me. He goes for a Foul Play. It does nothing. He'll just heal that back with Leftovers. So now I get a free... I went for Toxic. I thought he might switch there. And whatever I figured he did, it was good to get a Toxic off. Of course, he's an Umbreon. He might Heal Bell. I knew he was synchronized, but I'm Steel type. It doesn't matter. And now here, I almost go for a double Toxic, thinking he might switch. He just tried to pass a Wish. And I don't want him to have a just free turn, though. So instead, I do go for Play Rough. But it still does huge damage to this Umbreon. Oh, no, I did double Toxic. I wanted to get that double Toxic off. That's right. I didn't want it to just be a wasted Play Rough. And I thought he'd switch there, but he didn't. So now I'm just pretty much thinking, okay, I think he's leaving this Umbreon in to die. So I am just going to try to take it out. I thought he might switch there, but regardless, he didn't. And now I'm really just trying to knock out this Umbreon with Mawile. And Mawile, he actually kind of puts in work, so I'm pretty glad to have him. I think he's done pretty good both weeks. So we can see there, he gets the Wish off, and I do knock him out there. I think I could have played this better to where I wasn't knocking him out after he was throwing off a Wish. So, and that will come into play here. I guess we'll see right after this, because he brings in Latios. So now he brings in Latios, and I'm thinking, I have a couple options here. I do have Sucker Punch, and then I have Play Rough. He probably has Mystical Fire or something to hit me. And if he does have Mystical Fire, he will probably knock me out because I didn't bring any special defense investment. I was max HP, so that could help. So that's kind of what's running through my mind. If I Sucker Punch, am I going to do more than, like, I don't know, 50%? I don't know how much a Wish from Umbreon is passing. So if I Sucker Punch, I think it's kind of useless. If I Play Rough, now that could do more. I don't know, that's Stab. I think that could do more than Umbreon's Wish, and then maybe I get a Sucker Punch off after that. So I'm really just begging, I got to live this Mystical Fire. Now, of course, I could have switched out. I could have switched out into Regieleki, but I kind of needed Regieleki to take out Sableye, so I didn't want to sack that. I could have switched out into Flowsidon, my Dugtrio, but also he'd probably die to a Mystical Fire if that's what he did. So I decided to stay in. I thought my best shot is I got to live a Mystical Fire from Mawile and go for this Play Rough and then a Sucker Punch. Play Rough and then a Sucker Punch. And sure enough, he knocks me out. Doesn't matter. So all that thinking was for nothing. The wish comes true, doesn't even matter. So now I bring in Dugtrio. Why did I bring in Dugtrio here? I don't know. I think to just go for a Sucker Punch and then try to knock him out with a Thunderbolt afterwards, I think that was my best bet. So I go for a Sucker Punch, and he switches out. So I didn't think a Sucker Punch could one-shot Latios. So he switches out into Sableye. I've already frisked him. I know he's got a Lagging Tail, so I switch immediately into Regieleki. I didn't know what Lagging Tail would do to Sucker Punch, so if I'm using a priority move, how does Lagging Tail affect that? Does it just make it normal priority instead? Which if that's the case, Sucker Punch still would outspeed Latios. Or does it drop it all the way to like the lowest priority? So even if I'm using Sucker Punch, is that the lowest priority move? So I could not get this Lagging Tail tricked onto Dugtrio, onto Flowsidon. So that's why I switch in Regieleki here. Also, I don't think he can really touch me, and Regieleki will hit Sableye really hard, whatever he decides to go for. So he does trick. I lose my choice specs, but I get a huge Thunderbolt off. He Toxics, that's fine. If he recovers, I still knock him out, so he goes for another Toxic. And I get a free T-Bolt. I knock out Sableye. That's huge. Now he brings in Latios. And now I am not locked into Thunderbolt, but that's really all I have to hit this Latios. I mean, I could Ancient Power, but I already have a Lagging Tail, so I think he gets to attack first anyways. And he does. So he gets the Psychic off, knocks me out. He has Life Orb. So now I'm thinking, okay, I still have a chance to win this. I could Sucker Punch and say he, I think I would resist Psychic, so he's kind of got to go for Mystical Fire, which may or may not kill. It probably would. Or a Draco Meteor, which would probably kill as well. Although I think I resist that as well, but I guess we'll see. But I have to go Sucker Punch here. It's kind of my only play, which is what I do, and I do not knock him out, and he does get the knockout with Draco Meteor. So that just shows Latios is strong. He put in work this game. If I would have played things differently, could I have Sucker Punch with Mawile? Yes. but he gets healed up from the wish anyways. I don't think it would have mattered in the long run. So I'm not sure how I could have played that in-game better. I could have played the early game much better. But overall, great game from Aaron. Aaron played that really well. I loved the freeze dry on Mammo Swine. I love him bringing Whale Lord. Whale Lord is just a big goober, and I love that it's doing so well, and he's putting in so much work with it. I thought he made fantastic pickups this week. I think Sableye and Mammo Swine make his team dangerous. So Aaron you got to watch out for Aaron. So I'm hoping to make the playoffs here. I'm 1-1. We still got 6 more games in this season. So, there's plenty of time. This is kind of like in my head. In college basketball, I'm a big college basketball fan. In college basketball, it's always good when you have a really good team. So I'm a big University of Kentucky fan. A lot of times there are a lot of young guys who are pretty great on offense. They just got to learn to play together and play defense. And that's kind of how I see my team right now. So an early loss is good. We got to get our minds right. We this season, just because we have this young stud that is Dracovish and Reggie Alecki, just because we're fast and we're powerful, that doesn't mean we're going to win this game. So this got our mind right. We got to do a little more prep next week. Maybe run a little calcs beforehand. And I want to get that live commentary to you guys. I think that'd be fun too. But all in all, that is, I cannot take away from this win for Aaron and his Cincinnati Raikou, because that was a great game. Really fun. I definitely was worried there in the middle, and I am happy that I was able to bring it to a 1-0 loss. I thought it was going to go south quick. It definitely had potential to go south quick. But all in all, fun game. Swablu's, Columbus. I'm coming back strong week 3. I don't know who I'm playing. I got to look at the schedule, but I'm excited for it. Hopefully you guys come back for that match. Go Swablu's, go NBA. We'll see you next week.